Hey everyone, I want to talk all about chasing love and why this doesn't work. I want to break down a lot of the myths surrounding relationship OCD and relationship advice. Some of the stuff is going to be very difficult for people to hear, especially if they're just finding our channel, especially because most of the stuff I see on social media, whether you have OCD, whether it's relationship OCD, relationship anxiety, or relationship advice, it's pretty poor, and it's all based around the other person needing to fix something to make you happy. And those are beneficial, but that goes completely against Stoicism. It goes completely against the doctrine of, you have to become comfortable with the idea that you could be alone. And when someone comes into your life in a relationship, it's two separate people coming together, and the other person doesn't actually need to change in order for you to be happy. Yes, it's very hard for people to hear. We're not condoning unhealthy behaviors, physical violence, or anything like that. We're saying that in your mind, you believe everything should feel with a direct expectations of how you want it to be. A very subjective view of, if I don't feel like XYZ, my relationship is ruined. I'm going to break down the term the ick. You'll never hear a rational person use the word the ick. It is a very irrational, rigid term that goes hand in hand with perfectionism, and it's really causing a lot of problems with dating among younger individuals. So before I go any further, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment down below, let me know what you think about this. And let's just go directly into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the concept of the one, which more than likely doesn't exist. And you can break this down very easy. I'll give you a practical example. My wife dies in a car accident tomorrow. I'm sure I would be devastated. Would I marry again? Hopefully. I hope she would do the same. So let's say I don't date for a few years, and I get into a really unhealthy work mode. Maybe there's some distraction that's not good, and I have to come out the other side, and I get married in 10 years. So 2033. And I'm married to that person for 20 years. Who is the one? Is it my wife or my new wife? Okay, my old wife, Erica, or my new wife? So we know there's no such thing as the one. If I was born in a different culture, in a different time period, I would have married a different person. So by default, that completely just breaks down the belief that there's someone out there for everyone. Also, that's not true, because a lot of people right now, there's some of these big crises going on in some of these countries where there's not enough women for the men. Japan's one of those places where there's, I think, going to be 15 million men that will not be married ever. So there obviously cannot be a thing as the one. It feels good to think that, but the more that we break down the realities of how the world actually works, the more we set ourselves up for a stronger emotional outcome through our decision-making, through sitting with discomfort, and not having expectations on our relationship. Now, chasing love and chasing feelings is a really big problem. We have reality TV, we have all these love movies and drama shows and everything like that. But the reality is, all that marriage is words. Marriage is nothing more than words. Yes, there's legalities to it. We're not saying that. We're saying it really doesn't mean a whole lot. When people always argue with me on this one. They say, hey, well, there's shared bank accounts. And like, me and my wife own a business together, but we're still just two separate people coming together. Whether Erica's in my life or not, that does not affect my internal satisfaction or happiness. She adds to it. She doesn't make it. I'll say that again. Erica adds to my happiness and satisfaction in life, but she doesn't make it. And that's a very, very important thing to remember. Now, I say this in front of my wife, and in the very beginning, she's adopted these beliefs as well, which is probably not easy for her. But, she'd ask me, do you really not think I'm the one? And I would say, I really don't want to answer that. But I said, look, there can't be any such thing as the one, and I can't expect to feel a certain way. This goes for everything, like whether I'm having intimacy with my wife, kissing her all the way up to intercourse and sex, dinner, anniversaries, weddings, going to weddings, going to dates, all the big ones, buying a house together, having children. I have no expectations of needing to feel a certain way in any of those scenarios. Because the more that you expect to feel love or feel connection, the more it's going to elude you. And that's the big problem that ROCD and relationship anxiety sufferers struggle with. By the way, this is something that most humans struggle with. When I say most, almost everyone. There are so many rigid, irrational beliefs based around relationships. One of the best relationship books ever written is, in my opinion, How to Stop Destroying Your Relationships Before It Destroys You by Albert Ellis. Always read the books on the reading list first, but that's a great adjunct. I could summarize the book in a few sentences. Whatever the other person does, Yes, some things are harder to deal with. Some people, we work with people that come in with DVs, domestic violences, and abuse cases. We get, and that's horrendous actions, right? But we have to teach them how to accept the other people, because if they don't, they're the ones internally that suffer. The abusive person goes on their way and might be abusing other people. They're not even really affected by it. The person suffering is you. And we work with many people who have broken these beliefs down with applying acceptance, doesn't mean agreement. These are really hard things to be broken down, but it's important to talk about these things. What Erica does, Erica go out right now and cheat on me. That would make me upset. I'd more than likely cry. But I have the tools and the principles to bring myself back to an emotional equilibrium, because I realize that what she does cannot add any internal, it can't add to my contentment as a human. It can just benefit it, in the sense of whether she's there or not doesn't need to affect my anger or sadness or depression. And the only reason that's happening is because you have a belief such as, this shouldn't have happened to me. They should have never cheated on me. This is the worst. We're not saying you can dislike it. Remember, acceptance doesn't mean agreement, but this is how you actually start to distance yourself. Now let's talk about practical applications with emotions. What are you going to have to get comfortable with? No connection whatsoever. None. No feelings of connection. Kissing all the way up to intercourse again. All the things I already talked about. Sitting on the couch all the way up to wedding days. If you're not married yet and you're getting married and you have ROCD or relationship OCD, be prepared to be incredibly triggered. Just ear on the side of caution. I'm going to be really triggered today. And I don't need my wedding day to go how it is. I work with many people who hold strong. There is absolutely no difference between a random Tuesday in January of your life than your wedding day. None. They're just another day. The only reason that because of society, it's like the dogmas of this is the best day ever. You look like a princess. You look like a king, and all it's magical and fairy tale. It's not magical and it's not a fairy tale. It's just a day where you kiss and say some words to one another. This is really difficult for people to hear. And that might sound harsh. And we're not saying you can't enjoy it and really get into your wedding. We're saying the beliefs you're holding about your wedding are going to be usually a faint memory in the future. Or if you're stuck, you're going to hate your wedding. We see this all the time. So no matter what happens, I have my 5-year anniversary coming up in February. I have absolutely no expectations. I might have a really hard work day that day. I might have a more stressful day. That doesn't mean it ruins my anniversary 5-year. First of all, anniversaries and weddings and birthday parties, they don't really need to exist, but we have them because they add flavor and fun to our lives. But they're not, I always tell people, you're not, really 33 or this. You've been alive for X amount of days, right? No difference between a Tuesday or a Friday. I have date night coming up on Friday. It's supposed to be amazing. Why does your date night on Friday have to be weighed in such a better manner than your Monday morning breakfast? Now, naturally, by default, you'll do that because you have a hierarchy of a value system. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But the problem is you're weighting that dinner on Friday as the most magical, lovely, best thing ever, should never be interrupted. So there was a period, I literally made love to my wife for a year with absolutely no connection. Okay? Couldn't stay aroused. Couldn't enjoy it how I wanted to. It created problems in my relationship where Erica's like, do you not love me? What's going on? I didn't vent. I was like, hey, yep, just having a hard day. And I would go on my way. Then I would just say, you know what it is. And I would just walk away because I got so good at not venting, which then drove her fucking nuts. But then she came around and she realized how bad that was for me to vent and confess. So it was a team there. But even if she never got on board and we separated, I still would have recovered from ROCD because I know the principles. Well, you can't say for sure, but I would have given myself the best opportunity, as you know what I mean. The littlest thing, she'd walk past me, we'd be in the kitchen, I'd be cooking eggs, and she would just brush me. That anger of I want to take her head and just throw it. People don't even want to talk about this. They're like, oh my gosh, thank you for saying that. That's exactly how it feels. It's because it knows that you want to feel connection so much, so it's going to mimic homicidal, suicidal, angry, aggressive, hatred, the thoughts that you deem as evil. Oh my God, why'd she even come near me? Why'd he come near me? He's disgusting. I could be with anyone else. Everyone on the street's going to look more attractive than your partner. I mean, anyone, a homeless person, it's going to seem more attractive. I got a better relationship with that person living under a bridge. That's what it's going to do. OCD's goal is to distance yourself from your relationship as much as it can. So, how did I get to where I am? Okay, I know we talked about a lot of stuff, and I went on a couple tangents on this one, but it is what it is. So no expectations. Actionable steps to show love, even when I don't feel like it. Hey, babe, how was your day? You're having even when I'm busy. She left this morning. Hope you have a great day, babe. I didn't feel like saying it, but it's beneficial for the relationship, okay? It's good for the relationship. We come together as a unit to have two separate individuals with two separate belief systems. Number 3, never try to change your partner. Ever. Don't try to change their beliefs with REBT or CBT or ERPP or any of the 3-letter words or any of that stuff. Don't try to tell them what their personalities are. Don't try to go into avoidance attachment styles. Just leave them to do what they have to do. I spent way too much time trying to change my partner, and all it did was give me headaches because Erica doesn't want to change, and that's okay. And I don't want to change the way I am now. So if she said to me, I wish you were more like the old Nick, I would say, well, that's unfortunate you think that, and I'd have to accept that. Number 4, what else did I have to do for the relationship aspect of it? I had to get comfortable, like I said, with love. That was really the main thing. I had to get comfortable with any feelings, anytime, anywhere. I had to get comfortable with finding other people attractive, fantasizing about other people. There's no right or wrong. There's no such thing as this is how you should think of other people. No matter what book tells you, any book, whether it's a Stoic book or a religious book or some other doctrine or ideology, there is no correct way to think. There's just people that think in certain ways that people are like, that's normal, but that's not even the case. Because if 100 people think one way and one person thinks the wrong way, how do we know that that person's not thinking properly and all 100 other people are crazy? We don't know. We just have these things that we go, like, as a society, we grab on and be like, that's normal, think like that. It takes a lot of thought process, and you have to really think below the surface, okay? So like cheating, right, real quick. Where does cheating come from? It's not an instilled feeling. It's not. It's just not. Because if you go around the world to some of these Polynesian, in Indonesia, and their swinging cultures, that's in their culture. They look at you and they go, you're married and you don't let your wife sleep around? You're weird. Rob sent me something the other day about from Japan. I think it was Japan. Asking married women, if your husband has sex with a prostitute, is that cheating? They literally said no. The comments were crazy irrational. Oh my God, these women are delusional. But they think that about you. Never forget that. Their perception thinks you're crazy. Your perception thinks they're crazy. There's no right or wrong, no matter what you believe in. There's just things that show benefit as a societal hold. That's it. And like, if there was no religion, there'd be more than likely no such thing as cheating. Because cheating and monogamy comes from religious context. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. That's just where it comes from. That really can't even be debated. I mean, it could be, but to say that it's a natural instilled, I hear people say, you know better not to cheat. But then there's so many cultures out there that do what we just said, and it's just not that simple. But like in America, if you're cheating on your husband or your wife and you're going around and you're swinging, you're doing stuff, people can do whatever they want in their lives, but there could be some repercussions with that. Lying, you have to be sneaky, or spending monies in ways and hiding it from your partner. So there's more headaches and problems, but I understand why people do what they do. Human beings, people always ask me, how do I stop being lustful after women? I say, do you remember the story of George from the first book on the reading list? George came to Albert Ellis and said, I'm attracted to all 25 and 40-year-old women. How do I stop doing that? Albert Ellis says, you being lustful and attractive after 20 to 40-year-old women isn't the problem. The problem is your belief of this should not be that way. That's why the first book on the reading list is so important. So thank you guys. I know I went off in so many different directions here, but this is a really important topic. If you have any questions, comment down below. The WhatsApp link, message Phil directly. We'll get you in pronto. Like I said, we work with a wide range of time zones, you know, all the way from Americas to the Middle East, New Zealand to Australia. We're all over the place. We're international, baby. Who says that? Pitbull? God. Sometimes I say things and I'm like, you are an idiot. Truly, Nick. Can't be an idiot. You act like an idiot. Better, rational. So, and we can get you in and help you right away. You can recover from any theme or OCD. You can become comfortable with this. And I love my wife. I'll never get certainty on that, but I show her love and I act loving towards her. And when the feelings come, it's great. And if they don't, awesome. Again, as always, enjoy the rest of your day.